Welcome to the Cannabis Equipment News Podcast.
Hi, I'm David Manti, and welcome to a new episode of the Cannabis Equipment News Podcast. With me today is Harold Bouchard, president of ProSapac and Pre-Roller. How you doing today, Harold?
Excellent. Thank you, David.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining me. It's good to see you again. Third time's a charm, right, Harold?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Well, before we get started, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. You can also help us out a lot by leaving the podcast a positive review on whatever platform you use. If you want to email the podcast, you can reach me at david@cannabisequipmentnews.com with email the podcast in the subject line. You can also subscribe to our daily newsletter. Make sure you get it delivered to your inbox first. Harold, what's new with the pre-roller?
Yeah, a lot of things happened since we last talked, David. So we've been growing to a much larger company. We've been growing to Europe now. So we have machines now in Europe, and we've been growing also our product line. So it's still called pre-roller, but what we've done is we've also have multiple solutions for the cannabis industry for the packaging automation. And so we've developed a robot solution that's kind of a universal for cartridge and pre-rolls that allows customers to automate their process to put pre-rolls into little boxes, into jars, into tubes, label. And in Canada, we do a lot of excise stamp application, which is very tedious and expensive. So we kind of expanded toward that, but our flagship machine is still the pre-roller, which is the automated pre-roll machine. But we've been expanding quite a bit the last time from the last time we talked.
Any hiccups with moving into the European market?
Yeah, it was a long. I mean, I was actually just going to shows in Germany, in Berlin, and I was just looking at the market because the market is not really ready, to be honest with you, for automation. It's not legalized yet, and it takes longer than expected. But surprisingly, we sold machines in France, where France, they're using CBD. They do smoke quite a bit, and they use CBD joint. And we've been successful in a couple of installations there. And so we're actually expanding into this territory right now. And we're also going to multiple other countries, but it takes longer time. And there's some regulation for CE. For example, we had to go through a whole process for our machine to be approved. And we're looking for partners also for installation and startup and support over there. And we're actually, my VP sales is traveling to Europe next week, spend 2-3 weeks there and establish our structure, if you want, in Europe to be expanding there. Yeah.
I had no idea that CBD pre-rolls were such a market in France.
Me too. And to be honest with you, we just met the guy in the show in Berlin. I mean, that's when I found out that he was making tons of pre-rolls, a lot of pre-rolls, close to 1 million a month of pre-rolls. Oh, wow. Yeah. So, and they have a lot of dispensary also that they sell CBD joint to, and it's a booming market. So yeah, no, me too. I mean, I didn't know before I talked with this guy, and then we look at the market, and it's a good market for us. Yeah.
One thing that I've seen is machine manufacturers move into markets overseas is the power is different, and sometimes it's difficult to you kind of got to redesign the machine for different power. Did you run into any issues with power requirements?
We have universal power if you want. So we go from 208 to 220 one phase, and that's compatible for European power. Where you would run into problem is when you go to high voltage. So in Europe, they're going to use 600 volts instead of 480 that you see in the States for the 3-phase. But our machine takes not much power, to be honest. So that's not an issue. It's not an issue. It's more the security aspect of the machine. And all machines has to be CE approved, which is the equivalent of the UL if you want in the States, or CSA in Canada. So that requires a little bit of adjustment on our machine. And the process it took us quite a bit of time to get it done, but now it's there. So we're fine with it. Yeah.
What are some of the additional security requirements?
They're very. I mean, we are used to deal with that. To be honest, in Canada, they're very very strict in security in terms of um, anything related to pinch point. It's called pinch point. So when you put your finger somewhere, you got to have a certain distance from any movement. So guarding is critical. But since we already had those rules, if you want, in place with our machinery anyway, that wasn't an issue at all. So we already had those in place because you have to understand that we're also coming from the ProCepac has been selling equipment in pharma and cosmetic and food industry where security is extremely important too. And so we transported, if you want, that technology into pre-rollers, so into the cannabis industry. So our machine were already compatible, if you want, with the European security regulation.
You raise a really interesting point because in other industries, machine guarding and lockout tagout are critical issues that seem to pop up all the time. How is the cannabis industry and the equipment in the industry kind of stack up when it comes to the safety aspects, particularly machine guarding and lockout tagout?
I mean, it's like because it's a new industry, things are moving slowly to our automation, and you don't have if you want, the proper manpower or staff or engineers in place in different locations to really follow the procedures. The procedures are there. As an engineer myself, when I build a machine, I have personally a responsibility to build something that is safe for the public, and that's part of my profession, if you want. So, and the team itself here, where I have a lot of engineers, so we all build equipment to that standards. The issue is you do have some machinery out there that are not safe, and the customer will accept them because they don't have the regulation in house. Where, for example, in Canada, it's more restricted. I mean, there's more regulation in Canada than it is in the States. Some states, and it's not general. Okay, in the States, you will have facilities that are as equal or even better than the one in Canada, and you have. I mean, it differs from state to states and from customer to customer. So, but at the end of the day, it's really down to the customer. My responsibility is to supply an equipment that it's safe. But some people will bypass the safety aspect of the machine. They will just remove doors, remove sensors, and just run the machine without the safety. But that's not at that point, it's the customer's decision to bypass those security. Yeah.
Right. You were recently on a panel at a show on AI and automation in the cannabis industry. And before we even dive into AI and automation and how it can play a role in cannabis, one thing that I've been struck by is that there are a number of individuals in this industry that don't even know the differentiation between AI and automation. So how can we move forward with making these machines smarter when we don't even really understand some of the core terms?
Yeah. I mean, there's so many levels of automation, let's call it. But AI, I mean, if you go by steps, so automation is really you take a task that it's done by a human and automate that task. And usually, what you want to do is repetitive task. That's what you want to first automate. Those are the simplest thing.
Like
and this, like a pre-roller. So, and then at the next level, okay, which has been there for 7,500 years. Okay, Ford Model T was doing automation at that time. So this is not recent. It's something that's been there for forever, if you want. So industrial facilities. So, but automation is and then the next step is Industry 4.0. Industry 4.0, what it is you take data from different equipment and try to optimize your production with those data. Centralize information. And that relates to the maintenance of the machine, productivity of the machine, and making sure that the machine are operating to its optimal performance. And that's Industry 4.0. And there's a lot of investment done by the industrial world for Industry 4.0. We are basically doing Industry 4.0 with our technology. So we can link all the machine together, reporting, optimizing. We're there. The AI, that's a different step. This is basically trying to use the machine to think okay, and make decision based on productivity and production data. And that's a different level. Before we get there, okay, there's a lot of layer of automation that exists, like PID loops, proportional integral derivative. That's been around forever, and that's something that it's got to be there before the AI, obviously, because that's way simpler to use. AI requires the knowledge, like an expert system, if you want. An expert system is a data log of information and knowledge that is in the computer to make a decision for you based on production data. We are obviously going there eventually, but I think there's steps before getting there for us anyway as a company, to use AI. There's going to be some small application on AI that will relate to productivity, making decision for the operator for certain tasks that can be done. But there's a lot of other things that I think needs to be covered and existing and known and efficient before all moving to AI. But there's some application, because I was on the panel with the guy at Curtin, Jay, and he's using it for vision system to decide, let's say, on the buds, and that has application. So there is application out there for AI. Us, we're more like mechanical type packaging equipment, and so AI will come, but not tomorrow, if you want. We're down 3 to 5 years down the road.
Is he using AI to size buds before they're packaged or while they're still on the plant?
I think they're doing, after my understanding of their system, it's they cut the buds and then they can view the buds and sort them based on their characteristic. But there's a lot of characteristic. So it's not just the shape, it's also some chemical products within. I think there's another company called Fermenta that was also specialized in that. So, but I'm not an expert in that. But yes, these technology, would apply to the cannabis industry big time, which is what the food industry is using it big time, big time. Because vision system is one thing, is a visual aspect, but what you do is you connect the visual aspect with a database of knowledge, and based on that, then you make very wise decision on what you do with specific products. And that's where AI, I see AI be used in the cannabis industry big time.
Yeah, I definitely see an immediate need in quality control, and how it could be used there. But to your point, we're still like 3 to 5 years away from having the automation systems in place to even add the AI on top.
Exactly, because I've been to different locations, and that's what I do and I enjoy doing. I visit facilities, and sometimes they have our machine there, sometimes they don't. And often it's just the basic automation that's not even there, that will increase productivity. People are complaining that they're not making any profit, they don't make any money, but the bottom line is that they have way too much repetitive tasks that are done by humans that could be automated, and with a payback that it's very quick. And we have very ready to go solutions for that. And that's the first step. And then once we cover that, yes, we can go a step further. But the payback sometime on those solutions, instead of 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, it will be 2 years, 3 years, because then you go where the other industries are going. Because other industries, they all have that automation. They all have what's been there for a while, and then they want to increase productivity, and then that's where they go to the next level, Industry 4.0, the AI technology, and that's where you get the extra 10-20% efficiency in your productivity. But I think there's so much to cover right now just by applying simple automation that is so huge that before we get to the AI will take. But again, I don't want to, in what I do, I mean, packaging automation, but like I said before, I think AI still can be applied today on quality control. Mm-hmm. I think that's where I think I can see potential. But for packaging automation, right now, it's simple, well-known, efficient solution that we have ready to go. And we'll be able to show some of those solutions at MJBiz also there. And that's I think where the big value is. It's not just making pre-rolls; it's how automating your pre-rolls to put pre-rolls into tubes, put a label on it, and remove all kinds of repetitive tasks that it's unbelievable. There's like 25, 30 people in a room doing things that can be done with a machine. So that's where I think the growth of automation is.
On the topic of MJ Biz, what are you going to be showcasing at the show?
We actually have the what's called the PR200, which is our flagship machine that's been improving over months, years now. We've been selling it for close to 4 years now. So it's been at version 5.1. We are also showing our bigger machine, the PR400 that we've been selling. That's double the speed, same kind of technology. It's a bigger machine. We'll have a robot also that shows, like I said, the automation of putting pre-rolls and cartridge into tubes, carton, and so we'll have a robot actually moving and showing that with random pre-rolls. So, and we have a vision system that detects and before putting in. So we have that, and we have our what's called the monoblock. It's called the pre-roller line, which is very popular to automate the closing of any cylindrical shape, like the pop-up tubes, the twist cap, the jars, all that automation that takes, again, a lot of manpower. We'll have that full machine, and we also have a box finisher with a centrifugal solution. So it's a starter kit, we call it, and that will cover a big chunk of customers' potentials for us. I think we haven't covered the smaller dispensary and people, because in the States, dispensary can make their own pre-rolls, and we just find out that they do have a lot of volumes. So we will offer a very nice and very price competitive solution for that. We're going to a leasing program too with some of our solutions, which will, as you know, because the Banking Act, I don't know if that's going to go through with everything that's going on. I'm not going to get into the details on that, but we all know that it may be longer than expected. So money is still very difficult to find, even if what I found is there's a shift in the market where people are making money. There is some people that are making money that have been managed their business wisely, and they niche some specific area. I think there is more money than it was 6 months ago. My feeling right now in the market, but still, it's money. Cash flow is very, very difficult. So we decided to help our customers by doing a leasing program on our flagship, the PR200, on different stages, different models. So that will allow customers to get the machine, and it's a lease to own too. So it's not just leasing and leasing. They will eventually own the machine. So that's a big move. We decided to do that, and we're launching at MJ Biz. We already have 3 or 4 customers on it, but the big launch is really at MJ Biz, and we're doing that for the PR200 and also for the box finisher starter kit for dispensary also. So because they don't have all the cash to invest in that technology. So so that's what we're going to be launching. Plus, we also do some shorter financing, internal financing for our customers with very reasonable rate. Because right now it's very expensive to borrow money. And so we try to help our customer for short-term financing. So we listen to the customers. They want our machines, but they don't have the money. So we're trying to find solutions for them to access the technology and be more efficient, more productive in their facility.
Okay. I want to go back to the PR400 because you said it was faster, better output. What improvements did we see in the 400 over the 200?
I mean, in terms of, I think it's really a machine that it's more compact. So it takes probably 30% less space than 200 for the same speed of 200. So technology-wise, we basically didn't reinvent the wheel. We use what's been working on the 200 and apply it to the 400. So really a 400 is the equivalent of 200 stick together, which use basically one control panel, one PLC. So we save some money there. We also have 2 HMI So it looks like this.
Okay.
So basically, the advantage of it is that you do have redundancy. So instead of having a machine that is down, it's only one side that could be down, the other would run. You could run also each side from each HMI. So you could run from the left HMI, the right machine, vice versa. We also have a robot in the back that gives us redundancy in terms of trays. So when you empty a tray, you can use the remaining tray to feed both machines while I'm filling that tray. So that allows me never to stop the machine. And we make it more compact, but we still have the weighing of the flower initially, which made our name very famous, and our layer compaction technology that's been also known very well in the market. And we still have we added a scale at the end also. So we do have a check weighing also on the 400.
Okay.
So that's basically why we put that together. We're onto something big. We never stop in terms of innovation. We have now probably over 10 patents pending right now, and we keep improving. We're going to put also a new product on the market that will it makes the product more uniform before putting into the machine, and it could be our machine or other machines. So we have a module that's going to be up on the market. I don't want to talk too much about it yet because it's not been released, but we're very close for releasing it. I will contact you, David, because that's going to be a game changer. Very inexpensive module, but will make a big difference in terms of quality control and consistency and ease of use for the machine.
Yeah, no, I definitely look forward to hearing more about that as the details can come out. One thing I've noticed is that now that you've had more machines in the market, you've had a little bit more feedback from people that are using them, some case studies that have been published. Can you mention any of the companies that you've had sort of, I don't want to say success stories, but what's some of the feedback that you're getting from some of your recent customers and maybe some of the ROI that they've realized?
I mean, every day, and right now it's a situation right now where our machine is very popular. And what I can give you is, obviously I can give you some big names. We're at Curaleaf, which is a big customer, obviously in the States, and we have a lot of big names now that they standardize with our machine, even if our machine is not cheap, because of the quality and because of consistency. But it's not just that. I think it's also the quality, the service, supporting our customers. And this has been our bread and butter. This has been in the DNA of the company, is when customer calls for a problem, we're there. And I have now over 14 technicians on the road all the time in North America, and they're on calls all the time. And we basically try to do our best to support everybody. And the machine may not be the best. It may have some issues, but if you're there and support the customers and help them for their production, you have to understand that the customer buy a machine. He wants a machine to produce, and we have a lot of customers running 24/7. So the thing is, he wants his machine to be producing all the time. So having that in mind, and I'm putting also always myself in the customer's shoes. I'm investing a lot of money. I want this machine to produce, so I'm trying to be extremely proactive, and it's part of the DNA of the company is to support the customers. So to answer your question, we're at Tilray. They standardized with our machine. Big companies in Canada. We have over 225 of those big machines out there. So now we're in Europe. So we are, I think, one of the largest, if not the largest, in complete automated solutions. And we're there for a reason. I mean, we keep investing in R&D. We keep improving our machine. We're there to support our customers. And we're also going towards something even better that's coming also. I cannot talk to you about that, but there's a lot going on. Okay.
Yeah. No, that's great. I mean, and I like the breadcrumbs too, for something that's coming. So what feedback are you getting from the customers in terms of what they're looking for next? And I also want to mention, like, it's refreshing to hear an engineer say, like, hey, here's a machine. We know it's not perfect, but we're going to be there to make it work, to make sure that it's working all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hide myself. I mean, initially, I started in this industry close to 4 years ago, and believe me, I've been through a lot of issue, a lot of problems, a lot of up and downs, but I never gave up. I never gave up, and I still talk with my customer number one, machine number one, machine number two. I had a conference, and you mentioned at CanExec earlier, and I had probably 15 customers in there, and all high level. I wouldn't be able to stand in that room without supporting those guys. It's just doesn't make sense. So if I try to, and the feedback that I get from customers is that help me and I will help you. And it's a partnership. So it's basically how I create relationship with my customers and the team. Obviously, I cannot be close relationship with everybody because we have a lot of customers, but my whole team has the same mentality. It's basically trying to understand the needs and improve the machines. The machine, like you said, it's still not perfect. And what we're aiming to, and I just came out of an engineering meeting, is that to make the machine like an iPhone, okay? Press a button and it works. So that module I talked to you about, that will be part of it. And also the machine intelligence. We talk about having more fine-tune or auto-tune systems within the machine. So that's coming very rapidly. So that's coming in early 2024. So this will make the machine, the issue we had with the machine, and we still have, is a question of training. It's a question of customer understanding how to set up the machine with the different recipes. Because cannabis, the beauty and the bad and the good with cannabis is it's a product that is different from customer to customer, from strains to strains, from infused product, there's dry infusion, there's wet infusion, there's so many different strains, and people will use all kinds of different mixes. So the machine needs to adapt to all of this. And sometimes it's a question of being able to train properly the customer for him to understand and master the machine to adapt for that. Once the recipe is set up in the machine, then it repeats itself. And we had customer doing extremely, much higher speed than I was expecting from the machine. Extremely, very, very, very well. Where others are slower because they don't master the machine yet. What the next step for us is to make the machine more intelligent, to simplify the whole operation of the machine. So that's my ultimate goal, and we're very close to that. So yeah, speed is one thing, but I think people always relate to speed. But at the end of the day, what you want is the throughput over an 8-hour shift. You don't want to stop the machine, and you want consistency on your quality. And that's where we've been focusing on. Yes, speed is one thing, but if you just advertise speed, but the machine is always stopped and you have 20% reject, it's no good. So we focus on keeping the quality, very, very low reject, 2% and less, and have a machine that's constantly running.
Yeah, it's all about uptime, right?
It's all about uptime.
You have, like you said, clients of all sizes across multiple countries. If you had to give a short version of how, your take on the economic climate in cannabis in both Canada and the U.S., what would that be?
I think we're in a stage right now where there's going to be a lot of consolidation. Let's talk about Canada first. Canada is a place where there was obviously still some very big company that had unlimited money for a while. And now they realize that it's no longer there. They need to basically make money to continue and possibly change their business plan to be more focused on something specific. So I had customers that used to grow, and now they don't grow anymore. They just focus on packaging, large company. They just realized that that's where their niche is, and they've been pivoting into this, and they've been very, very successful. I think the secret right now is to spend. People have in mind that they spend their money wisely. That's critical. So you don't spend on equipment, for example, that's not been proven because they've been burned so often. So
Mhm.
you have to pick the supplier that's been there, it's been proven. Look at the machine, go and see what's working, and that's what I've been hearing from my customers is that they basically every dollar is tough to earn. People that are successful is they manage their production very wisely, very tight, and there is people out there that are making money, like I said, but the banking is also a big issue still in Canada. It's very, very difficult for cannabis, even if it's legalized nationally. In Canada, it's very difficult for the LPs in Canada to get money still. So it's private lending a lot, very expensive money to get money. So that's still an issue. You will still see a lot of consolidation in the market. There was a lot of that in the last 12 months. We've had some customers that went bankrupt, machine were on the market, and they were relocated. I've seen that, and I think what if I would give one advice to the customers is try to pick one area that you're good at and just be the best at that area. Don't try to be everything for everybody, and that's the main secret, and that's the secret for any industries basically.
Yeah.
So I think that's the situation in Canada. In the U.S., I think it's similar, but there's some mature market, as you know, California, Arizona, Washington State, Oregon. Those markets are very still struggling a lot. What we've been very successful for automation, there's more money, is the markets more on the East Coast, Michigan, Massachusetts, even Florida now it's growing, even if it's not recreational legalized. Ohio, that's going to come on board. I think it's going to be great. And people believe in automation a lot. Manpower is very expensive there too, so that brings automation. Money is still a huge challenge for most of the customers and very expensive. So again, the same advice applies, that make sure that when you pick a supplier, it's a partner and he's going to be there for you. And that's what we're trying to do. But the situation, I think it's going to grow. I mean, it's amazing. The market is just growing. I couldn't believe the number of machines that we have installed, and you translate that to number of pre-rolls. It's just, for me, it's blown my mind. I mean, that SKU, as in Canada now, is basically at the same level than the flower SKUs. It's over 30%, where it's not the case in the US, but it's also growing very rapidly. So for us, it's good news. But again, we have to be on top of everything in terms of improvement and support. Yeah.
So when you see Ohio legalize and you see rough timelines coming out of would it be DSA predict that maybe it really doesn't get up and running until late next year, most likely early 2025. When do you start approaching the markets with your solution? Are you watching people who win licenses? Are you waiting to see who wins cultivation licenses? Where do you start?
I think right now we try to be visible. I think our marketing right now is to be visible to everybody, so they know we are there and we can supply solutions. But we do some direct marketing also to specific newcomer. But like you said, it takes time. But automation takes time. So we have also MSO that will move to Ohio that already have our equipment, and they said, like, we're going to move to Ohio late 2024. Okay, we're gonna want this and this and that, the same thing that we have on our other locations. So and that's coming this way. But we kind of change. We've done so many shows. At one point, I had like 3 shows at the same time, and that's just crazy. We find out that there's probably more. I think our money will be spent differently in 2024 in terms of marketing money to get ourselves known for our solutions than doing all the shows, because there was some very, very disappointing shows. I mean, there was nobody showing up. So we're going to pick our shows a little bit more. But I think it's a question of getting us more visible in the market, and people will come to us. Obviously, we have our sales structure. I just hired a new guy that manage sales and marketing. He's out of Boston. He's a great guy. I mean, he's got huge experience. He used to own a facility also, and he's got engineering background. He has an automation company too, good management skills, and he's going to help also with the planning. And that leasing program comes from him. We do a lot in terms of also supplying good quality cones also, which is good recurrent revenue that help us support our customers and produce better quality of products. So I think right now it's a good timing for us to spend money more wisely, if you want, instead of just trying to be out there, more planning. We used to just go and say, okay, let's do it, without really have a good strategy. Now with this guy in place, he's been there for 4 months now, and he's really, really good.
You'd talked about new packaging automation. Does the packaging automation attach to the 400 and 200, or is it a separate installation where you are moving pre-rolls to the packaging automation?
Both, David, both. So we still have our solution that you've seen that pick up the pre-roll directly from our machine to the tube with a vision system. This is still popular. We still sell that. But what our customer have been asking is that can we take bulk pre-rolls, put it in a bucket, and just take that and multiple pre-rolls or one pre-rolls and put it into cartridge, into not cartridge, but carton, tubes, jars. And so we have that solution with vision system. We also have solutions that are semi-automatic, which have been also very popular. So you sort the different format, like tubes, for example, and put it in which we call it the feed screw, but it's basically a conveyor for unstable products, unstable tubes. And then you have people putting products into it, like pre-rolls or cartridge. And then that moves to a automated machine to do the rest of the task, which is verifying pre-rolls is in there, closing the cap, either a twist or a snap cap, putting a label on it, putting a code on the label. And in Canada, we can put the excise stamp also. So that's solving a lot of issues. And then go one step further, add the robot we talked about. So the robot could be attached to our existing pre-roller equipment or separate solution. So we have both, and we're going to show that at MJBiz.
Okay. I wanted to touch on that leasing program one more time, or the lease to own program. You said that you have a couple of people already enrolled in it. How is it going? And what does the timeline look like from leasing to own something where you start leasing it? And how long is it until you own it?
Yeah, that's a good question. And what we looked at different scenario. I know some of our competitors, I think they're using a lease, but you never really own the machine. And we thought that at one point the customer would want to own the machine. So the leasing is 3 years. So you basically, it's kind of a loan kind of things, but it also comes with service. So you lease the machine. We have a service program where we supply all the parts, all the service for the time of the lease. We also supply the cones for the customer at a very competitive price. And after 3 years, you look at the numbers and you own the machine for $1, basically. And so I think it's a great program for people that don't have the cash up front and they want to have the quality of a pre-roller machine. And so we made it very attractive for that. So, but what we had to do is to add technology to our machine. So we added a vision system, like a camera type system to supervise. We actually use Industry 4.0. That's where we develop a lot of technology for dashboards. So remotely in the cloud, we have all the data from the machine. And so we know the reject rate, we know the production, we know all the issue with the machine. So operator can actually enter if there is a slowdown on the machine, what happened, and that gets reported. So we know exactly what's going on. We can connect to the machine remotely. Machine has to be connected to Ethernet in order for us to do those actions. So a lot of thought and technology came by doing this. It's not just say, okay, put a machine. And one thing that's important is you need the machine that's very stable, because you don't want to put a machine that's not performing, obviously, because it's going to be a lot of issues. So that's why I was talking to you about having the machine simpler to operate. So we're going toward that very quickly, and that's what we do with the leasing program. Yeah.
Okay. Do you foresee customers wanting to stay in the leasing program just because of, the supply of cones, the maintenance package, stuff like that? I mean, I could see that being more attractive to companies that are running lean or really just don't have the staff.
Great question. Yes, absolutely. And that's basically, we have different maintenance program. And once you finish your 3 years, you own your machine, but it doesn't stop you from continuing the maintenance program. So we'll support the machine, we'll maintain the machine, we'll go there every 3 months, make sure machine is performing. We remotely access the machine. So those plans are actually available now for our existing customers, and for the people that have been leasing, obviously, will be available in the future. And you're right. I mean, people don't want to spend sometimes the money to hire highly qualified technicians. So we're there for them. We have multiple people now on the road to do that. Yeah.
Because the industry is still very relatively new, is there a dearth or a lack of quality maintenance professionals in the cannabis industry?
Yeah. The thing is, there's a break point. The thing is, when you go to other industries, there's so much equipment. I mean, at the level, let's say I take like roughly the same size company in the food industry, in the cannabis industry, okay? They have probably 10 times more automated equipment than in the cannabis industry. Mm-hmm. So it's always a question of volume. Can I hire like a electromechanics to support my automated equipment? You have to have a certain volume of equipment. You have to have enough equipment to justify the salary of a guy. And that's not the fault of the operator. It's more the fault of the lack of automation. And it's still a lack of automation in the cannabis industry. And that's the issue. So they take a good operator and they train him, and he becomes really good with our equipment. And then we had very often customer add machines, and this guy becomes the champion, becomes the guy that maintain the equipment, optimize the equipment, and then they hire some guy. And we often get involved in the continuous improvement, and not continuous improvement, continuous training for the customer. And it's not easy. I mean, but that's across all industries to find professionals, quality professionals, engineers, and technicians is difficult. And that's everywhere. That's in the U.S. and in Canada. So. And it's not just for the cannabis industry. It's for all industries.
Right. Well, Harold, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Before we get out of here, is there anything else that you want to make sure the Cannabis Equipment News audience knows about what's going on at Pre-Roller, yourself, or anything going forward until the next time we talk?
Look, I just want to say that we're out there for the good reasons, and we're extremely happy where we are now in terms of company. But I just want to say to my customers and potential customers that if you're looking for a reliable partner that cares about your business, just contact us. And obviously, if you can come to MJ Biz, I'll be there. My whole team will be there. We have a very nice booth there. And let's have a little chat together and see if we can work together.
Excellent. Well, you know what? I'm hoping to have a little chat with you while we're there as well, just to get caught up in person. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, sounds good. It's always a pleasure, David. Great questions, and enjoy that interview.
Excellent. Well, before we get out of here, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. You can also help us out a lot by leaving the podcast a positive review on whatever platform you use. If you want to email the podcast, you can reach me at david@cannabisequipmentnews.com with email the podcast in the subject line. You can also subscribe to our daily newsletter. Make sure you get it delivered to your inbox first. For Harold Bouchard, president of ProSapac and Pre-Roller, I'm David Manti. This is the Cannabis Equipment News Podcast, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Cannabis Equipment News Podcast.